him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool, New Orleans. NOAAC.com is your cool spot.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
The French bread of the city of New Orleans. Good to the last crumb. Leidenheimer French bread.
Did you know Rouse's sells only Angus beef? Angus beef's natural marbling means more succulence and flavor. Whether you choose Rouse's USDA Prime, Choice, or Select, it'll be only Angus beef when you get it at Rouse's. Tastes like home. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria has over 15 specialty sandwiches, a big 10-ounce burger, and some of the best pizza in New Orleans. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you on a Wednesday afternoon. Lebanon's Cafe. They're rolling till 9:30 tonight. Indoor dining, to-go orders. Maybe this rain stops. You can dine outside under the big green awning, under the oak trees, on the streetcar line, by the streetcar barn, Carrollton section of Uptown. Lebanon's Cafe, so good. Hey, New Orleans Councilman Eugene Green, nice enough to join us again on the program this afternoon. How you doing, Eugene?
Corey, doing just fine. It's always great to have an opportunity to talk to you and to those who are listening.
Yeah, like getting you on the program. It's always good to have a Harvard graduate live on the show. Gives us a little credibility.
Yeah, well, you have a lot of credibility, but I'm glad to be on the show. And any credentials that I can lend, I'm certainly happy to do so.
Eugene, I think the Times Pick or one of the local TV stations, I think it'd be more of a Times Pick thing. I think a story of black, I could be females too. I'm sure there are lots of females now that fall in this category, but black males of all ages, but especially like your generation, because your crew is sort of the first to break this barrier. I mean, I think of you and Harvard. Troy Henry's like an engineering degree from Stanford.
Yes.
There's just a bunch of, the old Sheriff Gussman, I think, what is Princeton or Yale, right?
He was UPenn, University of Pennsylvania.
Oh, he went to Pennsylvania. Okay, Penn. There's just a lot of...
Wait, Corey, just for the record, in case he's listening, I remember that Mark Morial is University of Pennsylvania, so I could be wrong.
I think Morial's Penn and Gussman's Yale, I think, or Princeton, one of the two.
Okay, yes.
He went, I mean, come on, Yale, Princeton, Morial at Penn, you at Harvard, Troy Henry, Stanford. There's a bunch more. There's a few dozen of you guys that are, let's say, in between 50 and 65-ish, that generation, that have these degrees from the top 1% universities in America. I think it would make for an interesting piece, but what do I know?
If they ever looked into it, they find even a bit more. Those are people who are prominent that you know well.
Yep.
For example, you have former city councilman James Gray, who has a degree from Harvard Law School. You have Trevor Bryan, a degree from Harvard Law School. There's a guy, Dorian Nunez, who is low-key here, who's a very hard worker, and he's got a degree from Harvard's Business School. We're all doing well, and we really enjoy our city of New Orleans, too. So, I mean, I know some people say, well, what's the relevance of race? But to be honest with you, in terms of responding to some of the, the oppressive situation that we had in the past, they are good stories, like about how, certain things were overcome and certain things are better now. I was just at St. Aug on Thursday, and we did a historic marker unveiling at the school. And we don't think about it, but St. Aug was formed 71 years ago in response to segregation and racism. And so many of its graduates have done so very well and contributed greatly to the city of New Orleans. So it's an ongoing story, kind of born of oppression, but at the end of the day, some very successful folks who have made a difference in our city.
No, it just blew me away. I mean, I talk to folks, and every now and then you get a Harvard grad, you get this, but just so many. And at the very worst, it's y'all are second generation and arguably first in a lot of ways. I mean, I think there were some other graduates, obviously, but not a lot from New Orleans, not the numbers, on and on and on. Anyway, just the thought that, hey, Times-Picayune would make a good story. Hey, Eugene, do we officially have a police chief? What happened today earlier at City Hall?
Well, today was a committee meeting as part of a process of reviewing to determine if the mayor's appointment is going to be accepted or not. And so today at the meeting, there was public input online, and those persons who were in attendance were there. And the council, after deliberation, not the council, it's very important for me to distinguish, the Governmental Affairs Committee, of which there are 5 members, voted to make no recommendation, but to send it to the council with no recommendation. You'll find this out. I was opposed to that because at the end of the day, I thought that we should make a recommendation to guide the rest of the council and the public, but I was outvoted 4-1 in that regard. So members are entitled to their opinions as to why they did it. But so basically the issue gets taken up again at the city council meeting of next Thursday.
You were essentially just trying to skip a step. I get not skip a step, but hey guys, Ann Kirkpatrick's the choice. We're not saying let's vote to make it official. You are just saying let's accept her as the nominee to vote on it. Is that what you're saying? I
was simply choosing to have it go to the council with a recommendation that this is the recommendation of the council to quell a little bit of the debate, if you would. But I also support Ann Kirkpatrick as the chief of police for a variety of reasons. I mean, she's been chief of police in other places. And Corey, I want to say this, and to all of your listeners, because we get emails all the time about different things. Ann Kirkpatrick is interested in serving in the city of Kirkpatrick is interested in serving the city of New Orleans in the midst of a consent decree, in the midst of the fact that she knows that we have significant issues with crime. She even knows about the lack of communication sometimes between different agencies of law enforcement. I'm impressed that she's interested in serving the city of New Orleans. And I think that's a very good thing. And I want to reward that with a vote that recommended her to be the new chief of police. Now,
and 800 days of Mayor LaToya Cantrell. I mean, you could have a new mayor come in and oust her.
And she's taking a position where there's no guarantee that beyond this term of this mayor, she'd be there. So I'm pleased with her enthusiasm. But look, Corey, I go to a lot of events, and I come from a different perspective in this respect. I've met with her 4 or 5 times, for example, twice. Plus, I went to a public meeting that was just 2 weeks ago out on Leon C. Simon. There were 150 people in the room, and they asked questions of her there. I've also been to another community meeting. I've also been to a public meeting at which the search group, the International Association of Chiefs of Police, asked members of the public what they wanted in a chief of police. And there was 20-some people there at the Nova Navarro Library. There were other public hearings. I feel that there has been a relative public process, and I haven't heard, especially in my district, I haven't heard many objections that say this person would not be a good fit for chief of police. But I also recognize that she's got to work with the mayor. Whoever the chief is has got to work with the mayor, meet with the mayor on a weekly basis. And unless I can find some reason to overturn the decision that the mayor has made based on some lack of qualifications or lack of motivation, I've got to say I want the person to be working with the mayor who the mayor feels he can work with best.
Eugene Green's with us, New Orleans councilman. So, Eugene, today's meeting was just like a let's learn about more about Ann Kirkpatrick. You wanted to vote to nominate her as chief?
My vote because it's going to come out as a 4-1 vote. I simply disagreed with the council, and I would have sent from the Governmental Affairs Committee a recommendation to the council to hire her as the permanent chief of police.
And right now there isn't one. So it would be if what you wanted happened, the council would have recommended her as chief, and then in the future the council would vote to approve her or not. And what you're saying happened is the 5-member committee didn't even say, hey, let's recommend her to the council, and they have to meet again. Is that correct?
Yes, but Corey, I want everybody to know this. Today was just simply a committee meeting of 5, but all 7 members can show up and participate.
No, I got you.
5 members had the option to vote in the Intergovernmental Affairs Committee. We could have voted to send it with a negative recommendation.
Right.
We could have voted to send it with no recommendation.
Instead, nothing.
Or with a favorable recommendation. And the word recommendation is what I'm suggesting is an important word. I voted against sending it with no recommendation because I wanted it to be sent with a favorable recommendation. That was a choice that I made. So that is my no vote when you see 4-1 in terms of the recommendation.
No, I got you.
But so we come back again next week on, I guess that's the 19th, and there'll be, because it's a council meeting, additional public input, and then we'll have to take a vote then, or we can defer it again, because we really don't have to make a recommendation immediately, but there's no need to beat around the bush. Let's just go in and make the recommendation.
Yeah, why were the why did the 4, what was the reasoning of the 4 members to not recommend her?
Corey, I will tell you that after the vote, the meeting was adjourned, so I would like to ask you, with all due respect, to call, and you might ask individual members their decision-making process. I respect democracy, and I respect that people...
Who are the other 4 members? Who are the other 4 members, Eugene?
Well, the 2 members who aren't on the Governmental Affairs Committee are Councilman Thomas and Councilman Moreno. So the other 4 members are going to be Councilman Jeruso, Harris, King, and Morrell. And I would be the 5th member of the Governmental Affairs Committee.
Gotcha.
But we did hear from the public. It was an open process. Many times those who come to the council meetings come in concert and they can work with each other, but there was a chance for the public to have input. I am confident when I say that I feel that there was sufficient public input because I attended the meetings. It's kind of hard to argue with me, and I was just at a meeting where 100+ people showed up, and they had a chance to ask her and others questions, and it was only related to public safety. So
I don't know anyone complaining so far about the Ann Kirkpatrick process. I don't hear anyone complaining.
It's just a new process for the voters decided that the council would have the final say up or down relative to the recommendations of the mayor, and I'm open to and accept that process because it is something that the voters voted on. I'm not necessarily, as I mentioned back then, I don't think that it's added tremendously to the process.
Right.
But today was an example of a 6-hour meeting, and we made no recommendation. So we heard from the public, though, even though we could hear from the public in other respects. But I respect the will of the voters and the will of the majority of the council.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom-made piece, I have a test that says if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Thank you, man. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette. INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette. INSagency.com.
For over 20 years, serving healthy, fresh, authentic Middle Eastern cuisine, Lebanon's Cafe. In the Carrollton section of Uptown on the streetcar line. Wednesday through Monday, 11 a.m. to 9:30. Lebanon's Cafe.
1970 was an exciting time in New Orleans. The first Jazz Fest was held, the city hosted its first Super Bowl, and the first Helm Paint location opened on Earhart Boulevard. While the floppy disks, mood rings, and pet rocks may have come and gone since the 70s, Helm Paint has grown to become your premier source for quality Benjamin Moore products, competitive pricing, and personal service. Please visit one of our locations today and we'll meet our competitors' prices on any identical product. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, let us steer you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, in this Lamarck Automotive Complex is something called Quick Lane. Tires, wheel alignments, struts, servicing your transmission. We're doing all makes and models. It doesn't have to have been purchased from us. It's for you. It handles your lifestyle with your budget in mind. And we want to get you in and out as quick as possible. Quick Lane, you got to come see it. You're going to love the experience right there at Williams Boulevard in Kenner.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
When USA Today ranked the 10 best must-visit New Orleans restaurants for travelers, Mid-City's own Katie's made the list. USA Today says Scott Craig is chef-owner at Katie's, a much-loved Creole Italian eatery that draws armies of regulars for lunch, brunch, and dinner. A neighborhood spot where locals congregate and New Orleans-style hospitality rules. Indeed it does. Katie's in Mid-City.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Hey, it's Wide Open Wednesday. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson back at you. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. Real diamonds, natural diamonds, 1 billion years old. Never lab created 3-week-old man-made diamonds. Are you kidding me? The real stuff. New Orleanians that know Friend and Company Fine Jewelers when it comes to engagement rings. Hey, guys, real diamonds, natural diamonds, Friend and Company Fine Jewelers. When I say all price points, diamond stud earrings, tennis bracelets, diamond necklaces, engagement rings for thousands of dollars, for tens of thousands of dollars, for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And get this. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street, in between Broadway and Carrollton, in Uptown, has an entire room of real natural diamonds. Everything in that room, stud earrings, tennis bracelets, diamond necklaces, even diamond engagement rings, real diamonds, natural diamonds. Everything in that room under $1,000. a price point for everyone, and everyone leaves with real natural diamonds, a billion years old, a lifetime purchase, a special gift for her. Guys, don't get fooled. Don't go to the wrong diamond jewelry store, local or national chain. Don't get suckered in to these man-made, lab-created 3-week-old diamonds. It's garbage. Big profit for them, big loser for you. Do it right. Real diamonds. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street. Go see Ken Friend. And right away, you'll be like, wow, I do have a friend in the jewelry business. Friend and Company Fine Jewelers on Maple Street in between Broadway and Carrollton. A wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Yeah, you right. Corey Johnson with you. Wet and rainy. We need it. We need the rain. We need the rain. We still are in drought conditions down here. We need the rain. I mean, good news yesterday from the Army Corps of Engineers, that saltwater wedge appears to be retreating to the tune of about 5 miles south. The rain can only help. A lot more of it sustained. Dodging a major bullet there. That's big time. New Orleans' own Steve Scalise could become the most powerful Republican in America. A party nomination and internal secret ballot. 113 to 99, reportedly. Then it'll go to the House floor. It needs 217 votes to become House Speaker. I know a lot of you out there in Metairie, white, conservative, Republican, you love Steve Scalise, keep doing what you're doing. I hear you. He's going to keep doing what you like, that ideology. That's fine. Stick with that all day long, every day. But move the needle where it's noticeable, where, wow, we can tell Louisiana has the Speaker of the House because look at the things, the projects, the money coming to Louisiana. There's got to be some benefit for us out of this. It's like when Byrd was up at West Virginia. West Virginia has some of the best highways in America, leading and going through that state and pretty much going nowhere. It's a bunch of towns. There's not a city. It's a bunch of small towns in West Virginia. Yet a lot of jobs created, interstate system built through that state that you wouldn't expect. Because Byrd had stroke all those years, all those decades, half a century plus. No, Steve Scalise is about to become Speaker of the U.S. House, the most powerful Republican in America. Democrats, Republicans, everybody in New Orleans, in Southeast Louisiana, should notice the needle moving within a few months of him becoming Speaker. Am I right or wrong? I mean, if it's just about, hey, I'm a Democrat, he's a liberal, I hope he keeps that ideology up. I don't care if the needle moves. I'm a conservative, he's a conservative. I don't need any of that. I'm an independent. I want some New Orleans and Louisiana moving in a positive way, sort of copying what other states and cities are doing that surround us. I mean, it's hard to find a more inept state than Louisiana and a more inept city than New Orleans. It's sad. Shouldn't be that way. We're not a poor city or state. We're a rich city and state run poorly. I mean, if Steve Scalise is Speaker of the House, can't move the needle, I'm going to be kind of upset about that. And I'm a little skeptical because Steve Scalise is very hardcore right, does not work with the other side, thinks they're like the enemy, they're evil, that type of thing. Not like Jeff Landry or LaToya Cantrell. Steve Scalise isn't crooked, isn't trying to set up friends and family, isn't a deviant like them. He just believes in that ideology strongly. I think he needs to be a little more flexible in that. And also, it's not all about just spouting off that ideology. I don't think Steve Scalise has authored legislation that has ever become law in his entire time in Washington, D.C. He's ascending to the Speaker of the House. I'm happy about that. I'm a New Orleanian. I want to see that happen. But it's kind of mind-blowing that all this time in D.C., Steve Scalise has never authored legislation that has become law. Never authored a single bill. He's the author of the bill. It became law, and it's something important. I don't think there's a bill where it's like, name the bridge the Corey Johnson Bridge. I don't think he's authored something like that that's passed. Zero legislation passed. I mean, what do AOC and Steve Scalise have in common? Zero legislation passed. Now, I mentioned this before. When, you're the starter. Hey, you're going from AA to AAA. You're going from AAA to the majors. Hey, you're no longer just a salesman. You're sales manager. When some people step up, they go into those positions, and it's where they should have been. The lower position was just limiting them, holding them back. They naturally should have been in that bigger spot. I remember my first time on television, going to bigger radio stations, FM, whatever it might be. You step up. I'm supposed to be here. Now let's really, go. Engage, clutch, downshift, and hit the accelerator. That type of mentality. I'm hoping Steve Scalise is like that. Where we get significant progress, significant change, positive things coming to New Orleans, to Southeast Louisiana, that we can obviously say, oh gosh, it's because Steve Scalise is Speaker of the House. That's got to happen, right? Anything else is unacceptable, right? I remember when Bob Livingston and the sex scandal from Larry Flint from Hustler, and it was nothing. Today, it would have been a speed bump. But Livingston was like the first mover on this type of thing. Had to back down. I was fired up for that. I was like, wow, we're going back to the 50s and 60s with Russell Long and Hale Boggs, head of the finance committee, head of appropriations, to collecting the money, distributing the money. I mean, just powerful. No, I think you look back in that era in Louisiana, 50s and 60s, a lot of prosperity. Think about the mid-50s in New Orleans, going into the 60s. In about a 10, 12, 15-year period, the Harvey Tunnel, the Belle Chase Tunnel, the Crescent City Connection, the Causeway Bridge, Ronnie Lamarck bridging the gap. Then the next generation into the 60s, it was the Superdome and the Saints. It was City Hall and the Civic Center downtown. It was, growth. Prosperity. No, it'd be nice to have Steve Scalise as Speaker of the House, but he's got to move the needle for us, and it's got to be obvious and significant that we can see it happening. Money, jobs for New Orleans, Southeast Louisiana. Bring something home. Day 5, this Israel-Hamas war. Just getting uglier and uglier. What is a big, big dilemma for Israel and obviously Palestinians, when Hamas is eradicated, and I think that's going to happen, like gone. The leadership's already getting decapitated, literally. Israel is 1,500, 2,000 militants dead, leaders and their family. The leader of Hamas, his father, his uncle, his brother, they're in the bill, all dead. What happens with 2 million Palestinians? Where do they go? You've blown up Gaza, and you've got 2 million Israelis in there, essentially. A lot of Palestinians, a lot of Arabs are Israeli citizens. It's sort of landlocked. Egypt to the south, Israel surrounding it. What's the future of Gaza and all these Palestinians? And I understand the Palestinians voted in Hamas. Major blunder, major mistake. But once all of this is over and Hamas is eradicated, and I think they will be, what happens to Gaza? Where's the aid and help for all these Palestinian people that deserve a place to stay? Corey Johnson.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets has daily lunch specials Monday through Friday, and their entire lunch menu is available too. Open 11 a.m. through 2:30 p.m. For the finest in Sicilian and Italian cuisine, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa. And now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Young's Dry Cleaning, with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com. The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
What actually lasts a lifetime? Not much, but at Helm Paint, we have something guaranteed to last a lifetime. Benjamin Moore's Regal Select. This paint and primer in one offers cutting-edge waterborne technology, smooth application, and long durability. Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore, your New Orleans paint store.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and models. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anywhere. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
For over 120 years, New Orleans' very own Leidenheimer French bread.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. If you missed a little bit of the 4 o'clock hour around 4:20, you missed New Orleans Councilman Eugene Green joining us. A governmental affairs committee met, 5 members of the council. They were supposed to just meet. It was a discussion about Ann Kirkpatrick, open to the public, online, taking comments from the public. They were supposed to vote, ideally, to just nominate her. This governmental affairs committee nominate her to the council. So these 5 council members that make up the committee, they nominate her to the council, and then the council reviews her, and then as a 7-member body votes either to make her chief or not, approve the appointment from the mayor or not. Instead, they voted to defer. We're not saying we don't want her as chief. We're not saying we want her as chief. We're going to meet again and discuss this some more. So another, I guess, governmental affairs committee meeting. And then I think Eugene Green was saying maybe by October 19th, in about a week, they might vote to, well, first that committee would have to approve the nomination for the council to review it and vote on it. And that's expected to happen. And then maybe by the 19th, we could officially have Ann Kirkpatrick as chief. It doesn't seem like there's, even though today's vote was, hey, let's think about it some more. It wasn't to not nominate her, but it wasn't to nominate her. It doesn't appear that there are council people that are against Ann Kirkpatrick. The folks that wanted to review this some more were Joe Giarrusso, Leslie Harris, who else? Helena Moreno, King. I think only Oliver Thomas and I'm going blank. Giarrusso, Harris, King, Morell, Thomas. Jeez, I forget. Oh, I guess in Green. Well, no, not Green. You'd need 4 of 7 to get her nominated, but Giarrusso, Harris, King, and Morell, I don't see them being against Ann Kirkpatrick is my point. Even though today they voted to look at it, review it some more, they did not vote against her. They did not vote for her. Anyway, this thing continues. Yeah, you right, Corey Johnson with you. Look, I'm not knocking Fox News, MSNBC, or CNN. During normal times, I mean, CNN barely had any ratings. The Gulf War in 1991 put Wolf Blitzer and CNN on the map. The incredible coverage from that building in Baghdad and the war starting, Peter Arnett, and I mentioned Wolf Blitzer, the anchor who was there as well. I forget his name. Great voice, great anchor. That put them on the map. They got great ratings when that war was going on. Then once the war faded out, they didn't, get such great ratings. I remember I went to LSU with Campbell Brown. Cammie Brown, as I know her, Campbell Brown, used to do a show on MSNBC or CNBC. And then she went up against the blonde hair woman who's really kind of always complaining, who was on Dancing with the Stars and had a wardrobe malfunction. That's how I remember her. And a couple of other sort of sensational type shows. And Campbell Brown, after a few years, was like, I'm coming in 4th place because I'm doing real news. And these other shows are more, not Jerry Springer-like, but going in that direction from real news. And how do I compete with that? And then Rupert Murdoch, was a genius, if you like him or not, saw a few things. There's a void in conservative coverage, and there's a void in personalities and opinions. News doesn't garner ratings unless there's a bomb going off. But political commentary garners ratings. CNN, MSNBC followed this lead. This is a bad example, but not so bad. MTV used to play videos. Then they put on like a Jersey Shore type show and got 20 times the ratings of the video. So regular videos, nothing. Snooki and Jersey Shore, huge numbers. Regular news, nothing. Bomb blowing up, a lot of ratings. Political talk, lot of ratings. So Fox started that trend. MSNBC, CNN followed that trend. Now, here's the point I'm about to make. When the you-know-what is hitting the fan, real news that is, it can get political. Obviously, this conflict is political, but from strictly a news standpoint, Hamas attacking Israel, Israel now going into Gaza, attacking Hamas in Gaza. There's not a lot of folks that watch Fox regularly that want to know about this war that are watching Fox. They're going over to CNN, MSNBC. They're going to the major networks because they have the staff, they have the crews all over the world, and they still do pure news. Fox News doesn't do a whole lot of pure news. They're more of a political commentary outlet like CNN and MSNBC are most of the time. But when the you-know-what hits the fan, CNN can shift to more of a news outlet, and Fox just keeps running Hannity or whatever. It's just an observation. I think a lot of Fox people right now, when they're looking for news, not politics, they're watching CNN and MSNBC. And then it gets political for them. And
You're
they
on the
switch
neutral
gears.
ground with Corey Johnson on TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube, on radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 5 p.m.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralocks, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralocks technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralocks is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latrim.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Ooh, Lord Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Lord Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
5 generations, family owned and operated. Leidenheimer French bread.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
Hi, this is Joey Helm. My dad, Bunky Helm, had a vision of a locally family-owned store serving the residential and commercial paint needs of New Orleans. I think Dad would be proud of today's Helm Paint and Decorating, and here's why. We have the best technical staff in the business, providing the best color matching service in Southeast Louisiana. Perfect matching for any color and any brand. And we'll save your colors so you don't have to save those old cans. Helm Paint offers free 2-hour delivery. Our in-store decorators will assist you on deciding what color and type of paint to best showcase your home. But most importantly, as your local independent Benjamin Moore dealer, our products provide the greatest value in the paint industry. Superior coverage, and Benjamin Moore paint simply covers better and lasts longer. New Orleans is a city of vibrant color, and no one else provides the paints of New Orleans like Helm Paint and Decorating. Visit any of our 6 locations or online at helmpaint.com.
Helm Paint, let us do you right. Helm Paint and Supply.
Here's New Orleans native son, Corey Johnson.
New Orleans City Councilman Freddie King joins us.
So, thanks for having me. And so it's an honor to be on.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have you on the program. Thanks.
The official afternoon talk show of the city of New Orleans. It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
Ford F-150, #1 seller in America. What about in the USA? Let's see, what about in the world? Who sells more trucks than Ford? Nobody. It's because the Lamar team is the real team. All that makes it happen is one goal. Everybody having a great experience at Lamar Ford. We became #1 for a reason, because we're good. And we need to prove it every day, every deal, all the time.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NoAC.com, your cool spot.
I love it. I love the Jetsons cartoon. So great, so futuristic. Coming up with a lot of things that they talked about that came to fruition later in life. Smartphones, flat screen TVs. I love this theme song, by the way, too. The string instruments. Check out this New Orleans trumpet right here. Real musicians. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. You know, we're live on YouTube every weekday afternoon, 4 to 6 o'clock. Corey Johnson, the Neutral Ground on YouTube. You can check out Johnny Quest on YouTube or the Jetsons. They had orchestras. Johnny Quest had a talented guy that wrote all the theme music for every episode. Talk about expensive and high quality and brilliant. Now it's Corey on a computer making digital noises and coming up with some lyrics. And I'm a musician. What musical instrument do I play? The keyboard? Wow. No, watching musicians that can perform, it almost can bring me to tears in the sense of like, wow, a human being with that much talent. And when you get like super talent and super talent together and one of them impresses the other, it's even more mind-blowing. That's a whole other show, a whole other program. But real musicians playing real musical instruments, years and years of practicing and improving and getting better and new techniques and the like. Just, I don't know. That's what I grew up on. I don't really get the non-musician thing. I mean, you're a singer, that's one thing, you know? If you're a singer, that's one thing, but can Kane West play a single instrument? Can Kane West play a cowbell with a drumstick beating on it? I'm serious. I think Madonna learned how to play the guitar about 20 years into her career. She's a singer. Anyway, what do I know? Wide Open Wednesday. I'm just like anybody else. You got your own taste. You like what music you like. There you go. And by the way, keep your music to yourself, especially on the golf course. What a nightmare. Music on the golf course. It's like I'm a city boy. That's my country. That's my camping. That's my outdoor experience. It's got to be ruined by Foreigner 4. If you can hear it beyond like 10 feet of the golf cart, it's too loud. And I don't want to hear your music no matter how much you like it. I don't want to eat your food off your plate. Music's such a strange thing. You get in the car with a friend, they just crank up music like, maybe we could talk, dude. Plus, I don't like this song. It's sort of like, hey, get in my car, put on this coat, wear these gloves. You know what? Change my shoes. What are you saying? Put on what socks to get in your car? Yeah, music is such a strange thing. People like it. So they're like, oh, I like it. I'm enjoying it. You'll like it. Nope. I don't like it. And even if I do like it, maybe I don't want music right now. In the car with you, rather chat while we're together. On the golf course, definitely don't want it. It is a wide open Wednesday edition of the program. 5 o'clock power hour coming your way. A wet and rainy Wednesday afternoon in Metro New Orleans, but we needed it. We desperately needed it. Still drought-like conditions. Boy, tomorrow through like next Wednesday, some pretty darn good weather. We'll wake up to 60s. That'll be our lows. And then like next week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we wake up in the 50s. And then lots of 70s for our highs, 60s and 70s for highs. This weekend, low 60s when you wake up, 70s during the day. Next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, 50s when you wake up. Maybe we won't reach 70 a few of those days, in the 60s. No rain forecast either for the next few days after this rain we're dealing with right now passes. New Orleans owned Steve Scalise could become the most powerful Republican person in America. He won his party's nomination, the internal secret ballot, squeaking by 113 to 99. That's amongst Republicans. He's their nominee for Speaker of the House. A House vote is coming, and if I'm not mistaken, he needs to get 217 House votes to become Speaker of the House. Republicans are in control. I'm an independent. I'm a New Orleanian. I want Steve Scalise to be Speaker of the House. But I'm expecting something out of Steve Scalise when he becomes Speaker of the House. And it's not just to stick with his conservative ideals. I know he's going to do that. I'm not expecting him to change. But I am expecting, I'm hoping that he reaches across the aisle, that he tries to work with Democrats, that he tries to get something done, that he leads. Also, as a New Orleanian, a Southeast Louisiana person, I hope liberals, Republicans, independents, libertarians, anyone in New Orleans, Southeast Louisiana, Metro New Orleans notices that Steve Scalise is Speaker of the House because of economic changes, financial changes, money coming in from the federal government into Metro New Orleans and Southeast Louisiana that normally would not come here if Steve Scalise wasn't Speaker of the House. As Speaker of the House, we better see the needle move for Louisiana like other prominent politicians work for their states. I mean, Byrd in West Virginia with the highway construction there, where there are no cities in that state, it's insane. Steve Scalise has to move the needle for New Orleans, for the metro area, for Southeast Louisiana as Speaker of the House, and work with the other side. Just this, I'm a staunch conservative. The other side sucks. Liberals are terrible. I've never had a bill that has been passed as legislation in my life in D.C. That's got to change. That attitude's got to change. And I'm hopeful that when you go up to another level, you're going from AAA to major leagues. You're going from the small market to the big market. You're Speaker of the House, the most powerful Republican in America. You got to do something for Louisiana that is noticeable. That is noticeable. Hey, the 5 o'clock powwow on a wide open Wednesday, brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company. They're noticeable. If you sit back at the end of the week and think about, did I have some Leidenheimer French bread this week? It'll probably be a few times. Oh, yeah, I went to that fine dining restaurant. They had that piping hot Leidenheimer French bread. I almost knocked out that whole mini loaf with that room temperature butter. Boy, how good is that? Piping hot Leidenheimer French bread where it's almost hot on your fingers. You barely can handle it. And then you're putting that room temperature butter and it's just melting into that Leidenheimer bread. Easy to knock out that whole little mini loaf. Maybe you're like, no, I had a po' boy earlier this week. Had a couple of po' boys. Roast beef on Monday. Had that shrimp on Saturday. Leidenheimer French bread. Good to the last crumb. Part of the fabric of New Orleans. It's literally in us. It's part of us. Leidenheimer French bread. Leidenheimer Baking Company. 5 o'clock power hour brought to you by Leidenheimer Baking Company on this wide open Wednesday, day 5 of the Israeli-Hamas war. Just sad, terrible, tragic. It's sad. I mean, I've cried a few times watching these families that are torn apart, that have lost loved ones. Sickening. Terrorists. Hamas is not it's not Palestinians. Hamas are terrorists that happen to be Palestinians. Sad. And Gaza, what's the future of those 2 million Palestinians in that bombed out area, right in the middle of Israel, right on the ocean? Wide open Wednesday. Corey Johnson with you. Lots of problems. What are the solutions?
The Woodhouse Day Spa, with 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and now Mandeville. A day of relaxation is just moments away at the Woodhouse Day Spa. WoodhouseSpas.com.
Fausto's Italian Bistro on Veterans Boulevard, where the brothers Fausto and Roland are serving some of the city's finest Sicilian and Italian cuisine. From New Orleans' first family of Sicilian and Italian cooking, Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets.
When a young man comes in and they walk into our store and you can see they're a little intimidated. Last week, I saw the young man. I said, hey, what can I do to give you a hand? And he said, well, I'm here for an engagement ring, but I don't think I'm in the right place. So I got him to my desk, and within an hour, he had purchased an engagement ring, had spent $1,000, and he was treated like he spent a lot more, and I'm sure we have a customer for life. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us to you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
There's a Middle Eastern restaurant that's less than 5 minutes from where Causeway and River Road meet, Lebanon's Cafe. Convenient to Old Metairie and Old Jefferson. Carrollton at Jeanette on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe. Young's Dry Cleaning with 2 walk-up locations with personal service. Young's on Claiborne and Young's on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview. Young's Dry Cleaning. Call 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Rouse's Market is hiring. With 65 stores, full or part-time employment, and flexible scheduling, Rouse's has a job for you, or maybe even a career. Apply at any Rouse's store or online at rouses.com.
Ooh, Lord Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Lord Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Served in New Orleans' finest restaurants, Leidenheimer French bread.
In New Orleans, we don't eat to live. We live to eat.
More is better.
Scott Craig of Katie's.
That is our slogan. More is better at Katie's. It means more of everything. Not just more food, more smiles, more friendship, more love, more. When you do something, you have to do it right. You know, it's all about more, and it's all more of the good things.
Get more at Katie's Restaurant in Mid-City.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day. By river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com. Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Day 5, Israeli-Hamas war. Just some facts that we can look at, and this isn't easy. If you're any kind of a humane person, you want all people everywhere to have freedom and to be able to, have a place to call their own and to live. And the Palestinians are no different. I have Palestinian friends here in New Orleans. Lots of Jewish friends here in New Orleans. Black friends, gay, women. I don't care what they are. I like them for who they are. The Jewish part or Palestinian or they're female, or those are all incidentals. I like people for what they are. Palestinian people deserve a place. They deserve a place, in my opinion, where present-day Israel is, like the Gaza Strip, the West Bank. I believe in a two-state solution. The Palestinians in Gaza, Israel gave them democracy, a freedom to vote. They voted in Hamas people to represent them. And when that happened, not only did Israel blockade Gaza, so did Egypt to the south, a whole other country. Like Hamas is running the Gaza area now. We're blocking that off. We don't want to have any freedom of movement from Gaza going south into Egypt, because Hamas is a terrorist organization like Hezbollah in Lebanon.
So this tiny percentage of Palestinians that make up Hamas went on the offensive into Israel in an unprecedented fashion, like their 9/11, basically. And then they go back into Gaza and spread out all over. And Israel intelligence finds them, warns other people in and around that building, get out because we're taking out this building. And they proceed to do that. I don't know how they can do it any other way. How do you eradicate? It's not another country. It's not another people. It's not Palestinians. How do you eradicate a terrorist group, Hamas, without going into Gaza the way they're doing it? With all of that said, Gaza, Palestinians, it's all essentially part of Israel. These Palestinians in Gaza, many of them are Israeli citizens. What's next? Where do those 2 million Palestinians go? It's not like Israel can say, not our responsibility. The world can't say, not our responsibility. It's everybody's responsibility. A couple of million innocent Palestinians that aren't part of Hamas, that aren't murdering terrorists, that are part of that part of the world for centuries, just like the Jewish folks. Neither one's going anywhere. 2 million Palestinians aren't leaving that area, and 8 million Jews aren't leaving that area. It'd be like, hey, New Orleans, all black people must leave New Orleans. Hey, New Orleans, all white people must leave New Orleans. It's not going to happen. We either live together, be together as one, or fight. And that's the Israeli-Palestinian dilemma. And now, it's like New Orleans has essentially bombed out Kenner. But to make Metro New Orleans great again, you need Kenner rebuilt, and all the people in Kenner living, working, equal ideally. No, in a weird kind of way, Israel is like white New Orleans and Palestinians are like black New Orleanians. They have the same rights in Israel, Palestinians, as Israelis, but they aren't in the same neighborhoods, don't have the same schools, it's very similar in some eerie kind of ways. Now, what's next? What's next with Gaza? What do you do with 2 million Palestinians, elderly, women, children? I think the statistic in Gaza of the 2 million Palestinians, I want to say 50% are under the age of 18. 50% of the 2 million, so 1 million under the age of 18. What do you do with all these people? What's next? What's next? Israel is not totally innocent in their history in that region with Palestine. I'm not going to sit here and back and forth about how does this equal that equals this, but you have two sides that have been, Palestine, you have Hamas, just this extreme terrorist group. In Israel, you have extreme Jewish folks that are anti-Arab. They're like Hamas. They want to eradicate the Arabs. They don't want any Arabs in Jerusalem. They don't want any Arabs in Israel. They want Israel to be a 100% Jewish country with no Arabs. It's just a super hyper small percentage of Israelis that are like that. It's like America. There's freedom. These people can choose to be like KKK or, Nazi types if that's what they want. And Nazi's not the term to use in Israel, but extremists, I'm using American examples. They have freedom for those people to have that voice. It's a hyper small percentage of Jewish people in Israel that think like this. The Palestinian population, I'm not saying it's a huge percentage. The vast majority of Palestinians are anti-Hamas, anti-terrorism, do not approve of this. But there is too large of a measurable percentage of Palestinians that are like, I'm not going to be critical of Hamas. The Israelis have done this. And there's just no way to justify, murdering 20-something-year-olds at a concert, paragliding in with machine guns and just a massacre, murdering face-to-face, up close, families. When do you ever see any of our allies, Israelis, has it ever happened? I'm sure we can go to Vietnam and some American soldiers killing babies and women and families. There's been incidents of it. But when is it like policy? When is it policy? When is it what we do? I mean, after World War II, America and the international community set up like rules of war. And Hamas, this terrorist group, no way to justify for a millisecond what they do. And Palestinians made a major blunder by electing them in Gaza. And Hamas went on the offensive. And how else is Israel supposed to handle it? But what happens with Gaza? What happens with 2 million Palestinians that deserve to live in that area? So it's not an easy solution. I am pro-Israel, probably our number one ally in the world, you could argue. Britain, Israel, Japan, South Korea. These are huge allies of the United States. Israel is like it's, and no offense to Israel, it's a lot of America. It's a lot of American influence, money, billions a year. I'm not saying capitulate to what America wants, but it's sort of an American outpost in the Middle East. Corey Johnson with you on a wide open Wednesday. Hey, television audience, we'll see you tomorrow straight up 4:00. That's how we do it every day. 2 big hours on the radio. Oh, so fine. 93.9 FM. CoreyTalks.com. Corey spelled Kaare. CoreyTalks.com. Live streaming on our website. We're on YouTube for 2 full hours each and every weekday, 4 to 6 o'clock. Plus on YouTube, like Anchor, iTunes, Spotify, podcast after the fact viewing. We're on television for the first 90 minutes of the 2-hour talk radio program. 4 to 6, statewide in Louisiana. The number one television provider in the state of Louisiana, Cox. I'm on Cox Channel 4, Your View, Louisiana, weekdays 4 to 5:30, 90 minutes, an hour and a half. You Charter television subscribers, I believe Charter is number 2 providing television service in the state of Louisiana, second to Cox. Charter, a.k.a. Spectrum. Spectrum Channel 333. Spectrum Channel 333 from 4 to 5:30 weekdays. Statewide. Cox and New Orleans, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, all over. Spectrum, Charter in Slidell, Covington, Mandeville, Cheyenne Country, Hammond, Houma, Thibodaux, Opelousas, all over the state. Hey, speaking of Cheyenne, you could do a lot worse for dinner tonight, right? You North Shore folks, you know where Cheyenne is. Foot of the Causeway in Mandeville. That means you South Shore folks, it's at the foot of the causeway in Mandeville. No driving on the North Shore. Cheyenne in Mandeville.
Total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total maintenance keeps you cool. River City's total
Total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot. Whatever the cities, total maintenance keeps you cool. NolaAC.com, your cool spot.
For Leidenheimer Baking Company, producing the perfect French bread is more than a vocation. It's a sacred mission. And for 5 generations, they've used the same time-honored process, baking their signature loaf with its crisp crust and delicate center, unique and still good to the last crumb. From the finest French Quarter restaurants to your local po' boy shop, for over 125 years, New Orleans' own Leidenheimer.
Rouse's, New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's has the only full-service grocery stores both in the French Quarter on Royal Street and in the CBD on Baronne in the old Sewell Cadillac building. The Rouse's on the river, Tchoupitoulas at Napoleon, is in a century-old warehouse. And uptown on Ferret at the corner of Valence is Rouse's all-new boutique store. With 7 locations in Orleans Parish, Rouse's is New Orleans grocery store. Rouse's Markets. Taste like home.
For us, it's really relationships. And if you care about the relationship, you're going to do the right thing for the customer all the time. When we're in design process of a custom made piece, I have a test that says, if I wouldn't give this to my wife, I think we should pass and start over. If it's not perfect, it's going back to the shop. We're going to start all the way over. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson.
Did you have any problem with Angel Reese? There was a photo of her coming off the bus holding the phone with the...
And that was a bunch of bull. That was Photoshop, that young lady. That's social media for you. How dare somebody do that?
No, I was wondering if it was Photoshopped or if it was real.
You just got the real answer from somebody who was there.
It's Corey Johnson on the neutral ground, where New Orleans is heard.
The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, it's open now. We fix cars and trucks. We do all makes and model. And it doesn't have to be a Ford or a Lincoln. It could be whatever you're driving. 32,000 square feet under roof, now open at 3101 Williams Boulevard. It's all about you, the customer, getting the most for your dollar. I would say the most perfect collision center anyway. The Lamarck Automotive Collision Center, 3101 Williams Boulevard. Go check it out.
From the owners of Katie's in Mid-City and Bienvenue in Harahan, an old school deli with over a dozen specialty sandwiches. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria on Harrison Avenue in Lakeview between Canal Boulevard and West End. Francesca Deli and Pizzeria.
Why wear the same old glasses that everyone else is wearing? Stand out from the crowd. Come to Art and Eyes. Art and Eyes is not your typical eyeglasses store. It's one of the finest eyewear shops in the country, right here in New Orleans, with precision-engineered prescription lenses and gorgeous high-quality frames from the heart of Europe, Japan, and the United States. Our products are thoughtfully curated, and our staff are here to help you find exactly the right frames. Art and Eyes on Magazine, as unique as you.
Custom window treatments can enhance the look and value of your home. At Helm Paint and Decorating, we're proud to offer custom plantation-style window shutters by Scandia. Perfect for any window, including large frames, French doors, sliding doors, and arches. American-made SL300 shutters are available in many colors to match your personal decor. We'll come out to measure, and you'll receive fast delivery. Plus, they're virtually maintenance-free.
Helm Paint and Benjamin Moore led us to you in the right direction.
Helm Paint and Supply.
I love the late 60s meters. That stuff's 55 years old. Go check out those late 60s meters albums / CDs, whatever they're called today. Looky Pie Pie. Really great stuff. The original meters, wow. Art Neville, Leo Nocentelli on guitar, George Porter on bass, and Zigabo Mugdalisti on drums. The original meters. I think they're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, aren't they? late 60s, just way ahead of their time. Kind of like a jazz, sort of rock, funk, blues, New Orleans fusion. Incredible. Corey Johnson with you. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Fausto's Italian Bistro rolls till 9 p.m. tonight. Their doors are open. Why don't you head on over to Fausto's Italian Bistro? Little drizzle outside. Don't let it bother you. You pull right in front. 10 feet. You're inside of Fausto's. Some of the city's best Sicilian and Italian. Fausto's Italian Bistro on Vets. About 62 degrees right now. As cold as it's been in about 6 months, huh? As cold as it's been in about 6 months. 62 degrees, overcast, wet, and rainy in Metro New Orleans. A little drizzle. But the part I like, the 62 degrees part. Tomorrow, we wake up at 63. Friday, 67. Saturday, 68. Sunday, 62. Monday, 58. Tuesday, 55. Wednesday, 57. Those are the wake-up low temperatures over the next week. High temperatures, tomorrow, 77. Friday, 80. Saturday, 80. Sunday, 73. Monday, 69. Tuesday, 68. Wednesday, 73. Those are the highs. Got some really good weather coming our way after this rain clears up today, tonight, overnight. Tomorrow through next week, like a week straight, really nice weather. No rain, lots of sunshine. And we needed the rain we just got. It's probably not enough. We could ideally, I'm not trying to ruin anyone's parade, but we could probably use rain going all night long while we sleep till about 7, 8 in the morning. Nothing severe, but good, steady rain, an inch every few hours, maybe like 3 inches of rain falling overnight, but it's not going to happen. I'm just talking fantasy land. We're in desperate need. And not so much for the saltwater wedge. Yes, that. Just drought conditions. We need the water. Wide open Wednesday edition of the program. Corey Johnson with you. 62 degrees, you North Shore folks, even colder. Maybe you're running some heat tonight. Maybe you're somebody that just doesn't like the cold. You're cranking up the heat right now. River City's Total Maintenance. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. I don't know about you, but like when I do stories and I talk about, give opinions, there's a consensus. There's 4 or 5 multiple sources that are reputable that I've checked in with, and then I can get facts and information and come to a logical conclusion. I don't have to remember the sources or where I read it or whatever. It's 5, 6, 8, 10, whatever. I know they're all credible. So I know the story, the facts are credible. That's sort of like River City's Total Maintenance. I can sit there and tell you about Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys. Incapable of screwing you around. I can tell you about 40 years in South Louisiana with a sterling reputation. I can tell you there's like 35 techs with centuries of expertise. They're air conditioning and heating experts. They figure out the problem quickly. They diagnose it right away and correctly the first time. They're not figuring it out, replacing parts, trying to figure out what's wrong. So they're honest. Incapable of doing a service, repair, replacement that isn't absolutely necessary. They're air conditioning and heating experts. They're going to diagnose it right. And they know your AC or heat's not working right, or worse, not working at all. They come immediately. So you can remember all that. Honest air conditioning and heating experts that come immediately. You can remember River City's Total Maintenance, Fair and Honest Lucas and the boys, all that. Even the phone number, 841-3300. Not hard to remember, 841-3300. Or like me getting the consensus on a story and facts. I don't have to remember all the sources where I heard it, where I read it. I know it's real. You don't have to remember River City's Total Maintenance or Lucas, Fair and Honest, AC and Heating Experts, Come Immediately, 841-3300. You don't have to remember any of that. Just know in your head that, man, I got an ace in the hole, an air conditioning and heating company that fulfills everything I need. All I need to remember is NOLAAC.com. That's all I need to remember, and I'm set. NOLAAC.com. Air conditioning or heating needs, NOLAAC.com is all you need to know. Problem solved. Wide Open Wednesday, Corey Johnson with you. If you missed the 4 o'clock hour, you missed New Orleans City Councilman Eugene Green joining us. Today, the Governmental Affairs Committee met. That's Eugene Green, along with Joe Giarrusso, Leslie Harris, King, and Morrell. Those four voted to push back to another governmental affairs committee meeting before we officially nominate Ann Kirkpatrick as chief. And that nomination means our 5-member governmental affairs committee, it simply means it goes to the 7-member city council. And then they can vote and would vote to approve or not approve Ann Kirkpatrick. Instead, this governmental affairs committee, apparently buying more time, they didn't recommend a no to Ann Kirkpatrick, and they didn't recommend Ann Kirkpatrick either. They said, let's meet again. Only Eugene Green said, let's nominate her. Let's nominate her. And next, we can talk about it with all 7 council members. Anyway, there'll be another governmental affairs committee member with those 5. And I'm assuming the next meeting, because I don't see Giarrusso, Harris, King, or Morrell against Ann Kirkpatrick. So I think it's just an incidental today. I don't know why they postponed it. Maybe there were some citizen groups that were complaining that they haven't been heard enough. Maybe that got back to some council members. I have no idea. But they're going to meet again next week and I guess say, hey, okay, we approve her to be the choice. Now we present it to the full 7-member council and they vote. I think Eugene Green said October 19th meeting could officially get this done. But right now, Ann Kirkpatrick is not officially the police chief, has not been approved by the council. And today, the Governmental Affairs Committee didn't even say, hey, let's present her. We're just a 5-member committee. We can't approve her, but let's recommend her to the full council to vote. They didn't even do that today. So the wheels, they bees are still spinning. Hey, why aren't you at Katie's in Mid-City right now? Iberville, Corner, Tallahassee. Like Scott Craig says, more is better. More of the good things. Lunch, dinner, Monday through Saturday. Brunch on Sunday. Big screen TVs all over so you can check out the college and pro action. That means Tulane, LSU, Saints, Pelicans coming up. The quintessential New Orleans neighborhood restaurant. Why aren't you at Katie's in Mid-City right now? Wide Open Wednesday edition of the program. Corey Johnson with you. Wet and rainy. We need it. Cooler out there, about 62 degrees right now. Coldest it's been in about 7-8 months. Nice weather after this rain passes in the next few hours. Tomorrow through late next week, fantastic weather. And a more cold front rolling in this weekend than last. This weekend, lows in the 60s, will hit the 70s. Next week, like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, lows to start our day in the 50s, high 50s. Yeah, you're right. Mosquito killing weather. New Orleans' own Steve Scalise, a internal secret ballot, the party nomination The Republicans nominate Steve Scalise Speaker of the House. Now the entire House has to vote. I believe he needs 217 votes from the House to become the next Speaker. Day 5, Israeli-Hamas war. Hey, on Fridays, Michael Heck joins us, usually with some good economic news. He's with Greater New Orleans Inc. That segment's always brought to you by Latrim, and they always have good economic news, literally. Growing worldwide, this New Orleans company, and they are hiring locally. Dozens and dozens of jobs available at Latrim.com. Latrim spelled L-A-I-T-R-A-M, Latrim.com.
Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com. Dave Miette Insurance Agency. Auto, home, flood, business. 504-556-0809. Dave Miette, INSagency.com.
It's time to relax. The Woodhouse Day Spa, Metro New Orleans' premier day spa experience, now with 5 area locations. For a day of relaxation or maybe just a quick 1-hour getaway, the Metro area's premier day spa experience is at the Woodhouse Day Spa, and now 5 area locations: New Orleans, Metairie, Slidell, Baton Rouge, and our newest location in Mandeville. The Woodhouse Day Spa, woodhousespas.com.
Trey Yen in Mandeville, a New Orleans tradition for over 40 years, serving the finest Louisiana-inspired Chinese cuisine. Open Tuesday through Sunday. Trey Yen.
Ooh, Lord Leidenheimer, that's what I said. Ooh, Lord Leidenheimer, that's French for bread. Leidenheimer.
Since 1896, a true taste of New Orleans. Leidenheimer French bread. Young's Dry Cleaning has free pickup and delivery. That's right. Young's Dry Cleaning has absolutely free pickup and delivery. Home or office, East Bank or West Bank. Call Young's at 288-8381 or online at youngsdrycleaning.com.
Hi, everyone. It's Tommy Wrong for AsbestosMoneyGrab.com. This is not, I repeat, not for folks with real asbestos problems. But if you're like me and were maybe taking a shop class in high school where you maybe breathed in some brake dust and you know for certain you're fine, but you're the type of person that takes advantage of these types of situations, get tested, lawyer up, and steal some money like me. Go to I'm not really hurt at all, but like exploiting the system for free cash.com.
Being a part of people's lives, from an engagement ring to a wedding band. Before you know it, the wedding day is here and groom and bride are exchanging gifts on that day. And not too long after that, there's baby gifts to have. And I just enjoy being part of other people's family, saying, Mr. Friend did my engagement ring and he did my mom and dad's engagement ring. My name is Ken Friend of Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business.
My Sittu, that's Arabic for grandmother, used to make the best football kibbe. You can experience kibbe just like my grandmother used to make, and so many other Middle Eastern favorites on the streetcar line, Lebanon's Cafe.
Here at the NOLA Coalition, we love our kids and we love our city. The people of New Orleans are standing together for a better future. By harnessing our collective resources, the NOLA Coalition will create a safer, more prosperous city for all residents. Your support is needed to help reduce violence, invest in our children, and drive generational change. Join now at nolacoalition.info.
The Port of New Orleans is the gateway to global commerce, the economic engine that moves Louisiana and our country forward. For more than 125 years, Port Nola has continued to deliver the goods we use each and every day, by river, rail, and by road. No matter what, it all happens right here, delivering Louisiana's future at the Port of New Orleans, your working river. Learn more about your Port of New Orleans. Visit portnola.com.
For game-changing innovation, look to the Latrim family of companies located in Harahan. Intralox, a Latrim company, changed the game when they invented modular plastic conveyor belts over 40 years ago. These belts and innovative Intralox technology are transforming movement in manufacturing facilities around the world. Intralox is a dynamic global company now hiring in production, warehousing, shipping, and more. If you want to be part of our successful team, visit Latram.com. That's LAITRAM.com.
Yeah, you right, Crescent City and beyond. Corey Johnson back at you. Every day I'm surrounded by it, literally. This program brought to you on radio, television, live streaming, CoreyTalks.com, or on YouTube, The Neutral Ground with Corey Johnson. Click to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It doesn't cost anything. It's always brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner. Lamarck Ford, the big store for 45 plus years. Number one Ford dealership in the region. Lamarck Lincoln, already the number one Lincoln dealership in the state of Louisiana. And Ronnie Lamarck, you think he'd be done 70-something years old, 50 million plus bucks in the Kenner facility? The Lamarck Automotive Complex on the car corner, Williams Boulevard at I-10 in Kenner, brah. Right on the corner, right on the price. No, continues to grow. Scoops up the legendary Ford truck dealership on Jefferson Highway. Crescent City Ford, now under the Lamarck umbrella. Every day, this program brought to you by the Lamarck Automotive Complex in Kenner, and now Lamarck Crescent City Ford on Jefferson Highway in Elmwood, Harahan. Yeah, you right. Ronnie Lamarck from Araby Park, bridging the gap. Got you covered on the lake side of the parish and the riverside. Wide open Wednesday. New Orleans Councilman Eugene Green joined us at 4:20. Ann Kirkpatrick, still not officially the police chief. The council governmental affairs committee could have recommended her, and then next week the council would have voted yes or no, the full 7-member council. But the 5-member governmental affairs committee, passed. They voted not to nominate her and not to not nominate her, to revisit it next week. Maybe by the October 19th meeting, this will be officially a done deal, but it's not done yet. And I don't see any of the folks that voted against they didn't say, hey, we recommend her, and they didn't say we don't recommend her. They voted to wait. Those that voted to wait, Jeruso, Harris, King, Morrell, I don't think they're against Ann Kirkpatrick. I don't understand why they didn't go forward with it. Eugene Green joined us. He was ready to move forward with it, making her the nominee, letting the full 7-member council vote early next week to approve her. I think that is inevitable, but it didn't happen today, for whatever that's worth. New Orleans' own Steve Scalise could become the most powerful Republican in America. Today, he won the nomination from Republicans, a party nomination, an internal secret ballot, 113-99. Not Jim Jordan, Steve Scalise, Speaker of the House. Now it goes to the full U.S. House. I believe Scalise needs 217 votes in the House to become Speaker. The vote is coming. This is what I hope. 2 things with Steve Scalise. One, he tries to reach across the aisle, not continue to be how he's been. I'm not trying to tell you for him to change his ideology as a conservative, but just work with the other side. He pretty much doesn't work with the other side. He pretty much has that attitude. It's like Jeff Landry and LaToya Cantrell. The other side sucks. The other side's the enemy. But without the deviant behavior or, crooked behavior or setting up friends and family mentality that LaToya Cantrell and Jeff Landry have, I think Steve Scalise is honest and not corrupt and isn't trying to set up friends and family. But I do think he is too hardcore right, where the left sucks. There's nothing valid there. I don't want to work with them. That attitude, I think, needs to change. I think he needs to reach across the aisle. I'd like to see it as an independent. That's how I know government will work better. All Republican or all Democrat doesn't work. And then I'd like to see some obvious movement in a positive way for New Orleans and Southeast Louisiana. I mean, Steve Scalise will be Speaker of the U.S. House, the most powerful Republican in the United States. There better be some cash flow for New Orleans and Southeast Louisiana that we notice. I mentioned Byrd in West Virginia. Have you ever driven on the interstate system in West Virginia? It's like perfect. And you're like, why? It's a bunch of towns. There isn't even a city. Why is it 3 lanes here? There's not even traffic. Because Byrd got it done. He brought millions, billions, maybe after it's all said and done, $1 billion plus to West Virginia over his half century on the Hill. Now, if Steve Scalise becomes the Speaker of the House, you hardcore, staunch conservative Republicans, he's not going to change his ideology. You don't have to worry about that. But what staunch conservatives, regular Republicans, Democrats, anyone in New Orleans, in Southeast Louisiana, we should notice the needle moving if he's Speaker of the House. That has to happen for us. Has to happen. Day 5, Israeli-Hamas war. I'll be checking out national news, flipping around the channels, checking it out. It's disheartening. It's sad. I am 100% behind Israel, but I am very much with 2 million Palestinian people that made the mistake in Gaza of maybe electing Hamas. Not maybe made the mistake, did make the mistake. But it's children and women and elderly. And there are 2 million of them, and they're not going anywhere. And they're cut off from fuel and water. And I don't think Israel's plan is let's kill 2 million civilians in Gaza. So I'm concerned about what's next for those people. The humanitarian aid that is going to have to flow into Gaza. 2 million Palestinians that deserve a place to live and stay and be free and in that area where they've been for thousands of years, just like the Israelis. Boy, Hamas, though, that terrorist organization, beyond bad choice, Palestinians. What's that, Blue Boy? You'll be keeping a close watch, too? No, it is sad and depressing. You're right, Blue Boy. It's war. There's nothing positive about it. Hey, New Orleans, 62 degrees out there. Rain's going to stop soon. We got great weather for the next week. See you tomorrow at 4.
You're on the neutral ground with Corey Johnson. On TV on Cox Channel 4 and Spectrum Channel 333. Also on YouTube. On radio at NOLA Talk 93.9 FM, WSLA New Orleans.
Hi, it's Ken Friend from Friend & Company Fine Jewelers. You've got a friend in the jewelry business. Come see us over on Maple Street in Uptown.
Friend & Company Fine Jewelers, Breitling time, 6 p.m.